guys, I'm Leah and I'm your local plant expert here at Jacobs Trading. If you haven't heard of Jacobs Trading, check the description below. We have some information about our online store and our website. It's pretty cool. Go check it out. Today we're going to be talking about some of the insect pests that can harm your plants and the best way to control them. Like all plants, indoor house plants can be under attack by a variety of insect pests. This is due to the ideal conditions of being indoors, and it can cause pests to multiply really quickly. So if you notice that your plant is looking really sick or really ill, you're going to want to make sure you check underneath the leaves of the plant or on the stems of the plant because it could be an insect pest that is causing the problems. But before we talk about what kind of pests could be attacking your plant, we're going to want to first talk about how we prevent that from happening to begin with. The first step to prevent any of these insect invaders from coming into your home is at the store. So when you're first looking at a plant that you're wanting to buy, you're going to want to make sure that you check underneath all of the leaves and the stems of the plant to see if you see any visible insect pests or any damage that they cause. If you do see any damage on the leaves or on the plant itself, you might want to pick a different plant because if you bring this home, it could cause problems to the ones you already have. Once you bring a new plant home, there are still some precautions that you're going to want to take before adding it to your other plant collection. You are going to want to first give it a good spray down with some room temperature water. This is going to pretty much knock off any other pests that you might not have seen while you're at the store. And another precaution that I personally like to take is I like to give them a spray down with a Neem Oil solution, which is a natural insecticide. If you are interested in doing that, we have the recipe in the description below, so you can go check that out. But pretty much you're going to want to take this spray and you're going to completely cover the plant in it. Make sure you get underneath all the leaves, in the stem, and everything, just because that's going to help it out. After you spray your plants down, you're going to then want to put them into a bright location that is away from the rest of your collection. So you're going to want to quarantine them for about 2 weeks. During this 2-week period, you're going to want to continue to check on your plant and make sure that all the leaves still look healthy and that no pests have popped up. So now that we know how to prevent pests from coming into your home, let's talk about the different kind of pests that you can get. Because no matter how careful we are about bringing plants in, they still show up. Let's first talk about mealy bugs. Mealy bugs are soft-bodied wingless insects that appear as cottony white little masses. They are typically found on the stems and leaves of plants, and they feed on your plants by using their piercing little mouth parts to suck up any of the sap of your plant. Damage done by these little guys is minimal, but if you do have a large infestation, it can cause yellowing of leaves and can cause your plant to be weak over time. They also will produce a sticky residue called honeydew, which can cause your plants to become really sticky, and it can produce mold on your plants, so you're going to want to make sure you watch out for that. To control these little guys, you're going to want to make sure that you prune off any visible ones that you can see, or you can take a Q-tip dipped in alcohol and just kind of dab them, because that'll help kill them off. If that's still not working and you have a very large infestation, you can either give them a good shower, or you can use a neem oil or an insecticidal soap to help. Aphids are sap-sucking pear-shaped insects that can come in a wide variety of colors. There are about 4,000 species in the world, and they can range from red, yellow, green, brown, or even black, depending on what kind of plant they're feeding on. Typically, with small populations, these guys don't really do that much damage, but their populations can grow quite quickly, so they can become very harmful real fast. Heavier numbers can cause your plants to wilt and yellow over time. They can also cause stunted growth, which can, if not treated, can kill your plant. They also will produce a honeydew like the mealy bugs above, which can cause fungus to grow over time. For treatment of aphids, you're going to want to pretty much prune off any spots that have a really heavy infestation, and then you're going to want to spray your plant down with a heavy stream of water to knock off the rest of them. If this is still not working and you have a really big infestation, things like neem oil, insecticidal soap, or diatomaceous earth can also help. Next, we're going to talk about thrips. Thrips are small, either straw-colored or black little insects that can cause a lot of damage on your plants. As adults, they have little feathery wings, which is a good way to identify them. But over time, if there's an infestation on your plant, it can cause your leaves to wilt or yellow, and it can cause long-term scarring or even death if left untreated. The best way to determine if you have an infestation of thrips is to look for damage that's similar to the photo that I have showing now. You can also look for little black specks on the leaves, which is pretty much insect frass. The best way that I have found to control thrips is to first spray your plant down with some room temperature water, making sure you spray all of the leaves. You're then going to want to use either one of or both of an insecticidal soap and a neem oil solution about once a week until you stop seeing the damage they cause. Also, the leaves that they do cause damage to, you're going to want to make sure that you cut those away, as thrips will tend to lay the eggs in the cuts they create. The next pest we're going to talk about is spider mites. These guys aren't actually an insect, but they're a type of arachnid, meaning that they are related to spiders and ticks. So these little guys as adults can be either pale in color or more red, and they're also very, very small and oval shaped. So for these guys, you're going to want to also look out for a type of webbing that they create, which is why they're called spider mites. But if you see this webbing, it means that you have already a large infestation, and you're going to want to keep an eye out for that. The best way to control them is to prune off any areas that have a large infestation or a lot of webbing attached to them. You're going to want to then give your plant a good wash to make sure you get rid of anything else that might be on it. You can also use insecticidal soaps or neem oil solutions to help if you have a really large infestation. Finally, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite plant pest, which is fungus gnats. So even if you've had just one plant in your life, I'm sure you're familiar with these little small black flies that fly around everywhere. Unfortunately, being a plant parent means that you just kind of have to deal with these little guys. Typically, they like really high humidity and moisture, so they can be seen flying around plants or even around windowsills as well. Although annoying, adult fungus gnats are completely harmless, as they don't bite or really do anything besides fly in your face. The problem is the larvae, as they feed on the soil and can damage your roots. The best way to control these guys is by not overwatering your plants, so bottom watering can be very beneficial. You can also use things like yellow sticky cards placed horizontally on your pot, which can catch the adults, which can help reduce the population. You can also use a solution of either neem oil or hydrogen peroxide to give a good watering of your plants, which can help kill the larvae. Another method that people tend to use is you can take the first 2 inches of the soil out of your plant pot and replace it with fresh soil, as typically the larvae tend to stay above, closer to the top of the surface, so replacing that soil will remove the larvae. So that's it for me, guys. I hope you learned a little something about how to identify different insect pests and how to control them. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We're putting out new videos every week. Stay in bloom and kill those pests!